So just need to make sure, keep an eye on the chat room. In the meantime, let's see if we can notice that it's really hard to keep track of all these tabs. So let's just close it up a bit. There we go. This is, so I guess here I am just in my sandbox environment. I wonder if I could just close this. It seems to be not responding. So what is this? Looks like an interesting 3D editor. We can pan. This is the starting point for your person. And then we probably want to put in a museum. There's a picture of the location here. View of Ruhr. No, that's just the whole town. Is this the railway station? I guess we could try to put these images here. A bit of feedback. Hi there. Hello. Maybe having the mic here is not a very good idea. I'll try this. Hello. Is that Dave? I can't hear you because you're muted. You need to click the microphone at the bottom of the screen. Can you hear me? Hello? I'm guessing this must be this you, Jeremy? Okay, we'll see if you can get your microphone to work. So, ground plane. There we go, image. Drag an image. Let's see, railway station. Image URL. Paste this here. Scale it up a bit. Because there are shortcuts to learn. TRY, okay. Makes sense. Bring that up. Okay. So we were supposed to. Where's this FHGR? Maybe there's a good picture of that. Ah, hi there.
Hello.
I can see you and hear you now.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. How's it going?
Not bad. Having a cup of coffee and seeing what this GLAM hack is all about.
Good plan.
How are you?
So I'm good. Thanks. Just I'm calling in from Könitz. I'm working from home today. I was in Bern yesterday, kicking things off here.
Okay.
And yeah, you weren't there yesterday, huh? You just joined this morning?
Exactly. Yeah, I had a long work day yesterday.
Cool. So yeah, so I'm Oleg. I'm one of the organizers, but also I've been participating in these GLAM hacks every year. Always keen to do a little project, a little experiment. So at the moment, I've got like this this chat room where I'm helping, this data help center chat room where people might ask a question about some data wrangling need.
Yeah.
I've been answering a few things about, like, encoding errors and whatever people are having.
Sure.
But I'm also I'm hacking on this little chatbot project, and I don't know if you saw the project page. I've pasted a bit of a background about it.
I did. Yeah, it's cool.
Happy to walk you through any questions you have. The chatbot is in our Slack. It should be working. The easiest way to play with it is to have a direct message. Someone's just trying to bomb my live stream, by the way.
They're trying to what, your live stream?
I just got this package delivered to me by a small child, and it's making sounds. Do you think I should open it?
I don't know, man. It's touchy.
It's a bit of a dangerous times we live in, right?
Yeah, right.
It's on the edge. Oh my gosh, what is this?
Did you get it? Is it snacks and stuff?
It looks
It's a Furby.
Oh my gosh, old school. And it's alive. All right. Well, I think little Furby can join us for a little chatbot session, huh? If you don't mind.
Not at all.
I'll try not to be too distracted. Otherwise, it's out the window with you, Furby. Hello. Yeah. The original chatbot, right?
No, actually, that's kind of true.
Okay. Safe and firm. Yeah, I was just saying. And by the way, are you seeing my screen share?
Yes. Yeah, it's the default thing. I see what you're looking at in Slack right now.
So like, there's this Slack bot that comes per default from Slack, but you can also, if you search for Sir Dridbot GLAM Hacker,
yeah,
then you can have a private message as well with this GLAM Hack chatbot.
That's kind of cool.
And it's got a few features, like if you type help in here, then you can get a list of commands.
Good. That's my next question.
Yeah. And if you basically the most, so there's a README actually, which is a bit easier on the eyes than this help screen.
Okay.
And that's just the open source repository on GitHub, which is linked on the project page.
Yeah, I have that open.
And so here, oops, not Drip.dat, it's Dridbot. That's it. And so we made it as a chatbot for hackathons, with the idea that it, for example, it helps you come up with an idea for your project, or reminds you to take a break, or tells you how much time is left until the end of the hackathon. This kind of thing, right?
Yeah, just supplementary, like helpful information. Sure.
Exactly. But I mean, it's also just a sandbox of little chatbot experiments. And so, like, it's based on this Hubot framework, which GitHub developed. And there's basically like 1,000 modules in there that people have developed over the years, and you can pretty much just pull them in really easily and add them to your chatbot.
Okay.
Maybe I'll show you the way I actually work on the chatbot.
Sure.
I don't have it installed on this computer, so that's a good excuse to go through the steps myself. So what you need is you need some kind of console where you can download this code. How familiar are you with coding? And
I'm a software engineer.
You're not?
No, I program for a living.
You are? Okay, so you know all about Git and consoles.
Yes. All
right, so this should be a piece of cake then. I mean, you can use GitHub Desktop or whatever, obviously, but so usually I work on Linux. This is a Windows machine, so extra challenge.
Yeah, good luck.
So voila, no git command. All right, I'm frozen. But I did cheat. I did install a virtual machine earlier in anticipation of this.
Good
How
to
do
plan
I-
ahead.
How do I open my? There it is. My Furby manager. You know what? This is too much for me right now. I can't deal with virtual machines. I'm just going to switch to using my Linux machine here, which is already set up.
Okay.
At least so I can just show you
Sure.
how it works. Aber. You're not seeing anything, are you? Grumble, grumble, grumble. Hold on. No, I am going to need to figure this out.
No problem.
I know. I could do a shell session to my Linux machine. Just work out the IP address. All right, there we go. Is this still working? You still seeing my share?
I see. Yep.
I'll make it fonts a bit bigger. Okay, so here I've checked out the Git repository locally. Okay. Now you have to have a relatively recent version of Node.js installed. I use something called Nave. It's a script that just makes sure I've got a recent version of Node.js available.
I use NVM, and it has Node 12, which I think is pretty recent, no?
Yeah, that's what I've got. Node 12 is perfect. Yeah, NVM is great too. So if you've got Node, the other thing is Yarn. Yarn is optional, but it just makes it a lot faster to download the packages.
Sure.
So if you've got Yarn, then you can just type Yarn in the project's root folder, and it goes through and it installs everything you need to run the chatbot.
Okay.
And that's listed in the package JSON. So the main dependency is this HuBot tool. And you can see I'm using a couple of HuBot add-ons already. Like all this is explained in the HuBot project.
Let me, sorry, I'm adding I had to add the app repository for Yarn, and then I can install it.
Oh yeah. I started a branch yesterday, actually.
Okay.
I think it's called GLAM Hack 2020. Oh. So if you just want to have exactly the same code as me, you should check out the same branch.
Will do. Yeah, I'm getting Yarn installed now.
You don't have any issues with Facebook products. Yarn is made by the Facebook team, just like React and a lot of other quality JavaScript things.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
There are no scenarios. You must have at least one. I'm not sure what that means.
Okay.
So I have Ubuntu 18. No, sorry, Mint 18.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it comes with CMD test, which has, let's see. So this is actually causing my issue with Yarn. Now, you said, is Yarn necessary for installation, or
I think you should just work with npm as well. If you just type npm I,
yeah.
I think that'll be fine too.
Okay, yeah, it's installed.
Yarn tries to stay backwards compatible. It's just way slower. At least on my machine, it takes like. No, my internet is 1.6 megabytes. Oh, that's fine. Okay. So Git while you're at it, because it's editing everything through Vim is not quite.
Okay. I need to set these.
You got it?
I need to set these environment variables before running.
You need the what?
In the oh, sorry. Actually, let me check out the let me check out that branch first.
Mm-hmm. Ja, und das bleibt bitte so. Musst du mitkommen? Okay. The Furby is now being collected. He's fallen asleep while we were doing our programming tests. Say bye-bye, Furby.
Ciao, Furby. Okay, so I have installed the repository.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out, do you know anything about Visual Studio Code? Do you use it at all?
Very little. What are you looking for? Oh, for Git integration, or?
Yeah, there we go, Git path. That should work. Yeah. It's just being silly and pretending that Git's not available.
Yeah, I am no help here.
Anyway, yeah. So once you got it installed, the next thing is to do like npm run qbot. I think that's the command. Yeah. If everything's installed, you should be able to do that and then have a dritbot prompt.
So it started, as well as the same output, the Hubot Heroku keep alive URL. Let's see. Yep, and I have a Hubot, like a Dritbot. How do you say it? Dritbot? Dr.
Dritbot. Exactly.
Dritbot.
Dr. Itbot. However, it's undecided. The verdict's out.
Dritbot. Sounds cool.
Very spontaneous. Anyway, so now you should be able to do
Help.
Dritbot help. You can't just say help. because that's like the console help. So you have to write dritbot help, and then again you should be able to do all the commands like we saw in Slack.
Nice.
I think this console has even like completion. Okay, no, it doesn't. All right, but it does have at least history, so you can press up and down and repeat commands, that kind of thing.
Nice.
And like if you had, I can give you some to have a really complete installation, one-to-one. I would need to give you some settings, a couple of private keys,
Okay.
which connect the dritbot to our current hackathon's platform.
Okay.
And then it would say when the hackathon finishes. That's really completely optional, only if you wanted to test the hackathon tools, but you can do that just in Slack as well.
Sure.
The point is that now you should be running the same version as me, and we can collaborate. What I'm working on currently is the command flicks, which has actually no useful output right now in the console because I was hacking with it last night. But if you just it just says enjoy this finest reel, whatever. So the idea here is basically there's a really cool film archive called Lichtspiel in Bern. They have a website and they have a database where you can find treasures from their archive. See this on my screen?
Yep.
And basically they have really old like films on reels, you know.
Cool.
And their database is rubbish. Like it's something like from the 90s. I don't know. It's like a really archaic website.
Okay.
It's very slow, but it kind of works when you manage to get it working. But they at one point, I know one of the guys, I know a couple of the guys. It's like an association. There's some people working there who maintain this archive, and they've dumped the database for us. And I have the link. I have the link on the project page. Anyway, the point being that I thought it would be fun to do something with that data. So here in this brainstorming thing, I have linked to the dataset, Lichtspiel films. In there, there's just a CSV file, right, which has columns and like records for the films. And so now if you look in the scripts folder, you can see that what I'm working on is this lichtflix.coffee script. So the idea is that a script just bundles together some functionality, like a set of commands. And so right now it's a very, very short script. And all it does is it fetches that CSV file. Right now it's just getting, there's like a full CSV file, which is a couple of megabytes. But right now I'm just doing the testing with the sample CSV. Okay. And then I'm using a package called Papa Parse, just a JavaScript library for reading CSV files. And then I'm picking a random item from that list. And if you uncomment this console log statement, you can see what that data looks like. So I just uncommented that. I'm running Qbot again. I'm just repeating the command, and you can see. So you have the ID, this copy ID. Not sure what that represents. Title, country of production, the year, what type of film it is, like documentary or animation or whatnot. I don't know if this length. I think this is the length in minutes. And if they have some documentation about the crew, you see it here, and then there's a description in German and in English of the film. So the idea is basically to make like a film recommendation thing, right? Where I was thinking it just asks you a couple of questions, like, are you in the mood for? I did this pop. I mean, there's a few of these quizzes. I mean, have you ever seen these quizzes? I don't really know this myself either, but last night I did it. It was a bit scary because these are websites I usually do not visit. But I mustered up my courage and I filled out this quiz. Here, what Netflix show should I watch? I mean, it's a pretty existential problem for a lot of people, right?
I mean, we spend hours searching.
I spent hours searching for this, and I found this horrendous quiz thing. And see, it asks you like, do you have your own Netflix login? Right, great start. Do you believe in love at first sight? Your friends have invited you on a weekday night. You've got work the next day. Do you go? Okay, so it's like you answer these 12 questions, half of which I don't really understand the meaning of. But at the end, you get like a semi-random recommendation. Like I assume there's not much science behind this. This is just a total marketing stunt.
We want to do at least better than random.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of these quizzes they're just there to make you sit on the website and continue gathering advertising revenue for the operators.
It's a good strategy.
It's a good strategy, yeah. And anyway, and then just says watch this show. So anyway, so my thought was something like this, but more in the GLAM domain, right? So we're looking at historic film collections, and. Yeah, we talked a bit about applying some kind of, data sciencey thing to a project yesterday. And of course, I mean, parsing these texts could be a fun challenge, right? Either the English or the German texts, and trying to understand, for example, like the emotional, kind of like, these tweet emotions. Is this positive? Is this negative?
Sure.
Sentiment analysis, exactly. It could just be a very simple lookup. Are you in the mood for a documentary film? And then we just filter to documentary films. Could be like enter the year of your birth or something, or and then it gives you just films for that year.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, it's a hackathon. We've got, I don't know, 5 hours, 6 hours or something, 8 hours till it's to hack on something. And I thought, so basically, I think chatbots are a great format for testing ideas. We've got 90 people at this hackathon today, and I mean, this chatbot is immediately accessible to them. So even last night, I was just having some fun. There's a recreation channel.
Yeah.
Where
I saw you tinkering with it.
So it's just funny, even just kind of what kind of random stuff is in that database. Of course, we don't want to spam people too much. That's the danger, right?
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
But I think everything is in good spirit. So right now, the chatbot is deployed. I should also mention that it's deployed on Heroku. Do you know how to use Heroku?
It's been a couple of years since I've touched it.
You don't actually need to touch it, because basically it's like it's a push system. So as soon as the GitHub repository gets updated, it automatically builds and deploys.
Oh, okay. So you set it up, then set up a hook, and then it just keeps building every time.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. We could be fancy and put in a CI and all that, but right now it's just push to master, deploys to Heroku. So if you want to make any changes, right, I think we should at least use pull requests or something.
Sure.
Although it's a hackathon, I would love to just add you to the repository and hack at it. Maybe, but at least let's just use the branch, right? So that.
Yeah, of course. So not to master, but to GLAM 2020 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, so I'll make sure it's pushing from that branch, and then we're all set. And then I just need your GitHub user account, and I'll add you to the repository.
I'll post. Let's.
Oops. All right, so got automatically deploying from GLAM Hack 2020. And Go settings. Invite people. Did you post to Slack?
Yes, I wrote you on Slack.
All right. All right. You're now a maintainer of the repository.
Nice.
But by the way, yeah. So this is just my totally random idea. If you've got a better idea, if you wanted to work on something else, chatbotsy, some other functionality, go for it.
Okay.
This Lichtspiel thing, I think is just not very challenge. You know what I mean? Probably. I don't know. I just kind of I don't think it's not gonna knock anyone's socks off. You know what I mean?
Okay.
To get film recommendations.
Yeah, sure.
It's a nice hack. I think it might even be useful. I think the people from this film archive will appreciate someone reusing their data.
Yeah. No, I think it's a cool idea. It's simple and something we could probably work on for the next few hours before the hackathon ends.
I just wanted to say one other thing I've been thinking about is that we're in a virtual event, and as you can see, we're meeting on Jitsi, which is it's an open source product. And I'm not a huge fan of. Let's just say we could have met on Cisco WebEx like everyone else is using, but when I have an open source alternative, I tend to use it.
Sure.
Okay, especially at an open data hackathon. And the same thing is a bit with Slack. We actually had set up an open source Slack platform called Mattermost, and the team, the organizing team, decided not to use it because they felt, I guess, Slack was more full-featured or whatnot. But the cool thing about Hubot is that it supports a whole bunch of platforms. There's a wiki page on the repository, or in the docs you can see the full list. I think under adapters. It's not a huge list, but actually this documentation is really out of date. I think there's quite a few more now. But see, Slack is just one of the chat services they support. We also have a Rocket Chat instance, which we don't use, but it's a chat.opendata.ch. Maybe it's down at the moment, but
how is the Rocket Chat different than Slack or
Mattermost? Yeah, they're all basically the same. I mean, the difference is that Slack is a commercial service, great developer support and everything, but it's not open source, and it is a bit of a walled garden. It's like with an app store and everything. It's like the Apple of chats. Everyone loves Slack, but it's got a pretty big business behind it.
Sure.
The antithesis of that is like IRC, like the old school platform. I think Hubot originally was IRC based.
Yeah. I mean, it's old, but it works, right?
Exactly. And XMPP was pretty big. Probably about 10 years ago, we all had an XMPP client.
Okay.
They all had different names for these networks. And anyway, this one Gitter that they support is actually really popular with the organization that's kind of like our parent organization, Open Knowledge. We're like the Swiss chapter of this international network.
Okay.
And they use Gitter. Like every GitHub repository automatically kind of gets a Gitter room, where it makes it really easy to just bring in your team into Gitter. Anyway, the point, all I want to say is that I don't think we should be necessarily limited to Slack. Okay.
Yeah.
And for a long time I've been wanting to make this chatbot work in something like Mattermost. Mattermost, I even started working on it, didn't finish. But the thing is, at these GLAM hack events, people are really into kind of creative projects. We've got several people working with, mobile apps. Someone's working on an augmented reality project. Last year, we had a whole bunch of VR experiments, which was pretty cool. And so what I've been playing with this morning is this. This is Mozilla Hubs. And it's like, okay, it's frozen.
Cool.
It's frozen now, but
what
it's
is
like
it called?
Mozilla. It's hubs.mozilla.com.
Okay.
And it's like a web-based virtual reality chat, and it's like Facebook has this really popular one. I think it's a bit modeled after it. So you basically log in, and then you can enter a room. You can choose an avatar. I'm not sure why I keep getting asked every single time. So you can enable your microphone. So it's for conferencing. It's like the Jitsi we're using now. So the idea is that if I share this link with you, without installing any software, you should be able to appear next to me in this virtual reality space.
Okay, so can you see me? Is that me? I don't.
No, I can't see. Did you click the link I sent you in the chat?
Oh, it says, enter room.
Yeah, I sent you a link. I think I can also give you a number. On my screen now, there's like a number you can put in, I think. Oh, there we go. Now you're in the room. So that's how you look like. You're like a little robot.
Awesome. That's my dream.
So the point is that this has a chat. Hello, little robot.
Nice. Okay.
And
you would like to integrate the Drid bot here.
Yeah, and so anyway, that was just a thought. And the thing is, I looked into it. I mean, this is all open source and hackable, but it seems totally a non-standard.
Okay.
And I don't think anyone's attempted this yet. Like, I couldn't find any evidence that anyone thought of adding chatbots to this would be a good idea, because it's completely focused on human video conferencing.
But people use this. This is not like some experimental thing. This is something that's being used.
Yeah,
well,
it's very stable. It's an official Mozilla project. It's not like an experiment.
Okay.
See, the really cool thing about it is that you can, if you press that magic wand at the top, see it connects to Google Poly, Sketchfab. You can add GIFs, but like it connects to these repository content. So you can really quickly pull in a cool object like this hologram projector I just found.
Cool.
And then you can manipulate these objects really easily. Just shove them around, make them bigger or smaller, rotate them. I haven't quite figured out how to rotate. I'm sure you can though. And there's like this like really professional looking editor, which I have on my screen now, called Spoke. And in Spoke you can create kind of like levels. You can create the starting scenes for your chats.
Nice.
So here I even just in literally 2 minutes pulled together something like that looks a little bit like Graubünden, where we were supposed to have the physical hackathon today, and I was able to add a couple of pictures like of the train station and stuff. So it would allow us to kind of create a really fun VR experience for the hackathon participants that is
cool.
just miles cooler than being in a Slack together.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
But anyway, I thought that would be, yeah. So I guess that's like the challenge in a challenge is like build a chatbot, but then what would be the coolest place to deploy that chatbot? You know?
Is in hubs.
And for me, level one would be some open source place, like not Slack, but an open source chat. And like the level two would be a VR chat. And I'm sure there are others like this Mozilla Hubs that have chat room support. You know, maybe there's like a VR experience that supports integration with another one of the existing, like maybe you can pull in IRC or pull in Rocket Chat or whatever into some other. I haven't done any research. I don't know if that exists. But potentially there are shortcuts. But on the other hand, Mozilla is a really very cool hackable community. There's someone else. There's another team using A-Frame, another Mozilla project. That's the augmented reality hacking going on.
Sorry, say that once more.
So there's another team, Thomas Weibel and his team. They're doing something with like augmented reality where you hold up your phone and you see like objects from some kind of open collection overlaid, like Pokemon Go, but with GLAM.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. And they're using a Mozilla A-Frame to develop that.
Okay.
A-Frame being just a really accessible framework for building 3D projects. So yeah, that's it. I've told you everything. So you tell me what sounds interesting, feasible, and compelling.
Like, I think the first thing is to just get the instance of the chatbot running and just get familiar with it, and then see what we can attach it to. Like, having it inside of the hub seems really neat, but maybe it's a daunting task. I'm not sure yet.
Well, would you be okay kind of taking over the chatbot for now? Like just talking about the next hour, right? Just see how far you get with it. Like either, make improvements to that film recommendation idea, or go into some other direction. Oh, by the way, CoffeeScript. Have you heard of CoffeeScript?
I've heard of it. I have not used it.
Okay, just think it's like a Pythonic version of JavaScript. So you use tabs instead of brackets.
Sure. Okay.
I literally only use it for this project.
Okay.
And it's like the Hubot developers, they really liked CoffeeScript, and so they built the framework on it. So anytime you find example code for Hubots, at least half the time it's in CoffeeScript. There is a CoffeeScript JavaScript converter. So you can like write your code in JavaScript, and it's always one-to-one maps backwards and forwards.
Okay.
If you're not comfortable with it, you can just translate it into JavaScript, rename the file to JS, and work in JavaScript.
I think it's fine. I'll give it a shot with CoffeeScript.
Yeah, just if it's slowing you down, don't bother with it.
Oh, sure. I don't program in JavaScript anyway, so I don't think I'll be especially fast.
Yeah, and try deploying, like, once you have something working in your local, try pushing it to the branch, and the deployment is really quick. Usually takes a minute, and I think you'll see it right in your commit. I think I've got it wired up so that, I see here this branch was successfully deployed.
Great.
It'll tell you as soon as it's ready, and then you can test it inside of our Slack.
Cool. Okay. Sounds good.
And I will try to answer that question. I will try to find out how feasible it would be to bring that chatbot.
Sounds good. So for the time being, I'll get more familiar and play more with the chatbot locally and start pushing to deploy in Heroku.
Cool. And we could have our next meeting inside of Hubs as opposed to Jitsi.
Sounds good.
I don't think they have screen sharing and everything, so that might be a bit tricky, but just for the hell of it.
We'll work it out.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to sign up and eat some lunch.
Yep. Me too.
And,
I need to shop. I'll be a bit offline. I need to do some shopping as well. But
Okay.
I'm here all day. Oh yeah, and those kids who brought the Furby,
Mhm.
they're quite keen to test anything I come up with and just be involved a bit. So
Okay.
we'll have at least 2 more participants in the project later.
And focus group users. That's good.
Exactly, we'll have a tiny focus group. But I mean, that's obviously the nice thing about hackathons is as soon as you have something testable, recruit some people, and get their feedback.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. See you later, robot.
See you later.
Yeah.
Ciao.